Hello and welcome to Monkeys with Fire. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. So, of course, we have another Tabletop Tuesday this evening, and we've got something rather special. We have got the opportunity to take a look and play a game that is not yet released and will be available on Kickstarter next week. So you are getting an exclusive early viewing of this game, and it is Monster Slayers of Slawia from Into the Unknown. Now, of course, you guys will know Into the Unknown for Aeon Trespass Nymphs and Eschaton. And of course, we've had their lead designer on the channel several times. This is one of his games. So very kindly he's provided a copy for me to play and explain to you this evening. And hopefully we can get a couple of you onto the Discord and get you playing, because I can tell you right now, it's a good game. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself playing it. I've had a good few goes of it. Yes. So this is a game that you certainly will want to check out on Kickstarter when it launches officially next week. So I think what we'll do is I will guide you through the rules of the game, and it's not overly complex. But what it's a case of is understanding what you want to achieve. Once you understand that, then the game all clicks into place real quickly. All right then. So basically, we are in the Kingdom of Slawia that unfortunately is got a rather large problem of monsters at the moment. Monsters keep on coming on in and messing everything up for everybody. So we are part of a house of Monster Slayers, and all we do all day long is either drink beer or slay monsters, and we're rather good at both of them. So let's take a look at one of these houses, give you an idea of what some of the artwork's like. So hopefully you can see these cards nice and clear. And the artwork is really nice. It's a sort of semi-realistic style. I very much like them. And it's essentially we've got 5 houses because this game will take from 2 to 5 players. And all unique artwork on these characters. Let's take a look at this house. And I will explain what the cards are in a moment, because understanding your band of slayers is quite an important aspect to the game. Alright, so there we go. That gives you an idea of 2 of the houses there. Essentially, the houses are the same. It's just the different colours to denote which players are obviously taking part. So then, I've had to lay things out slightly differently than you might do in an ordinary game. We have the monster deck, and with the layer of monsters up at the top of the board. This is the location deck, and then what I've done is I've split out the locations. So for a 3 to 4 player game, we would have 4 locations down, and these are the starting monsters that we find at each location. So I'll just give you an idea what we're up against. We've got a Wyron, so good fantasy fare there. Everybody likes to kill a dragon. We have a wolf rat, which is a very strange combination of creatures. I'm not quite sure how this one came about. We have a faux dragon. And then we have one called Valiant, which looks a little bit like a 3-headed hydra. Again, some of these creatures, I believe, are sort of Eastern European mythology. So different sort of variations of creatures that we might be aware of before. And then we basically have some locations. We have the Fiend's Spire, the Deepness, the Badlands, and Salt Deep. So we've got some nice different locations to visit. Okay, so the way that the game plays, we have a group of Slayers, as I've said, and these are ordered in various numbers which determine the strength of the actual character. And let me get the appropriate, there we go. So we have the Rogue, we then have the Mage, we have the Ranger, the Exterminator, and then these are what we would call typical warriors. Okay, so these are just ordinary, no special abilities. The most important aspect to these particular characters is that they have higher strength and attack values. Now, the way that the game works is that these values in the top left-hand corner is the amount of attack that you are going to be giving. So the Rogue is only going to give 1 point of attack, but he has a special ability that will sort of help that along. So you can see how the 6 and the 5, no special abilities, but these are badass warriors. Okay. So what's going to happen is on a player's turn, you basically have 3 actions. The first 2 are quite simple. You place down a Slayer to one of the locations. So let's just take this for example. I'm going to place one of these warriors and I'm going to place him here so that he is at the Fiend's Spire. So we're just going to take a look at the Fiend's Spire, just so we can get some information from the card here. So the card tells us that this particular location can take 2 warriors. Okay, so I've already played down 1. So in other words, one other player could place another warrior in this location. The location can take 3 monsters. We already have 1 at this location, so it needs 2 more to fill up this area. I'll come to the points system in a moment because we'll carry on my sort of turn. So my first action is to play a warrior. My second action is to play another warrior. And so I'm going to play the Ranger into this location. Again, this location can take 3 warriors and can have 3 monsters. It's obviously a larger location to be able to have both sets there. The third action is that you must play down a monster. Now you can either take a monster from the lair at the top of the playing area or take one blind from the deck. Now there are obviously decisions to be made which ones you're going to take, and I'll explain why. So let's say for example I'm going to take the Foe Dragon because I know that the Foe Dragon is worth just 2 points of attack. I'm not taking this one because he's a special character and he of course is greater. To play this card, you've got to play it in a location where you have not already played cards. So of course this leaves me just these 2 locations. So we could put the Foe Dragon here to go along with, well in fact actually no, that's a bad idea, isn't it? I should probably put it here because I am getting towards the 4 and we want to fill these locations up with monsters, but I've kept the value of the total number of monsters down. So this is 4, now this is 4 in its value. And once we do that, we turn a new card and fill the lair up. So actually it's good that I took it from here because that one, that is much more dangerous. So then it would be the next player's go. And let's trigger this so I can show you how it works. So let us take just an ordinary warrior. So we can place this warrior in here. So that would be my first go of the next player. And then potentially they would play a warrior down here. And now they have to take a monster. We don't want to take the Wyron. We're not going to take this guy at the moment. We could take the Striga. Shall we take the Striga? Yes, let's take the Striga. Let's be... So the Striga goes in there. And we reveal a new card. Ah, we got two of these guys now. Okay. So we now go back to the first player. And the first player cannot put any more warriors in this location. We've already got two. So we've got to choose other areas. So let's say, for example, I'm going to have one in here, one just there. And now, of course, we've got to pick a monster. I don't like any of those. I'm going to take the top card off here. Aha, it's a 2, and I'm going to deliberately put it here. Now what happens is we've triggered a hunt because we've filled the monsters. Okay, a hunt is triggered once the monster quota is full, not the Monster Slayers. Okay, there is a value on this card which I will come back to. I'm kind of ignoring it for the purpose of this explanation. So it is a simple matter then of adding up the value of the monsters in the location, to which we have a value of 6, adding up the value of the Slayers in the location, to which we have a value of 11. So the Slayers would win this encounter. Okay. Now it's a case of divvying up the prize. So basically, we would take the monsters, we will shuffle them. The blue team would get one monster, and they wouldn't know what they're receiving. The yellow team would get a monster. This monster goes onto the discard. And then the amount of points. So the team that had put in the most attack into the battle receives the location card. So the blue team, of course, had a 6 and the yellow had a 5. So the blue team is going to be rewarded with this location card. But first of all, we mark down the amount of points that we've got. So the first player on this particular card, the one who's got the most, gets 3 points. And we'll just use a little token here. Mark that down. And then the yellow team, they would get 2 points. Coming down as next. And then what we do is we move the sun token along, which is determined by the main point value on each card. So the sun moves 3 points. And this is what's going to move us towards the end game. Also, the team that played down the greatest number received the card, and that is 3 points at the end of the game. Alright, so hopefully you can see in just the basics how the game plays. You want to trigger the hunt, and you want to make certain that you've got more of your team members in that hunting party so that you can claim the reward of the location from the others, hence giving you potentially the greatest amount of points immediately and also points at the end of the game. Now, I want to explain some of the locations, so let's just clear these back up. So, locations sometimes, say for example, here we go. This location does not have any special attribute to it. Okay, so it's just an ordinary location. This location, if it is during the sun time, the daylight phase, you can put down an extra Slayer. So in fact, I ignored this rule for the purposes of the example, because we are in daylight still, in other words, turns 1 to 6, or sorry, as the time marker has gone along, still within 6, it's still daytime. As soon as it hits 7 to 12, we go into nighttime. And that would mean that it would go back down to just 2 Slayers can be in this location. And then when we hit 13, it comes back and we can put an extra person in. In other words, it's an easier location to do during the day than it is at nighttime. Nice thematic little touch there. We then have the deepness. And the deepness is an unknown region. Make sure I'm getting that right. Yes, it is. So the unknown region is when you place a monster card at this location, you must play it from the top of the monster deck. So if you're having to play a card here, you've always got to choose it blind from the deck. You can't choose from the lair. So in other words, you never quite know what monster you might be up against in this particular location. And then the final location is this one. Exclamation over the Slayer symbol, and this is impending danger. If able, play your first Slayer card here. So whenever we've got a round and it's the beginning of your turn, if you're able to do so, you've got to put a card down here first before you then move on to the other areas. So of course this is channeling how you're able to play your cards and which fights you're able to join. And of course that is valid to all players playing the game. So those are the 3 environmental or location attributes. Now let's talk about the actual Slayers themselves. And let me just sort this deck out to make it easy. All right, here we go. So first and foremost, we have the Rogue. Now the Rogue is quite an interesting character. Not very good in the attacking aspect. Only 1 point of the attack. But what the Rogue's able to do is they can place their token on an adjacent Slayer. And during a successful resolution step of the hunt, that Slayer's strength counts as 0. So in other words, let's take this as the example. If the Rogue had been played here and we still had enough points to be able to defeat the adversaries that we were up against, so we have 6, we're up against 4, but the Rogue has put their token on that particular card. What that means is that once we've defeated, we've got to work out who's going to receive the location. Ordinarily, the yellow player would receive it because they've got put 5 in and the Rogue has only got, and the purple has only got 1 in. But because the Rogue has put their token down, that 5 counts as 0, and hence the 1 is now the winning card. So in other words, they've stolen the location. So the Rogue's quite a devious card. And this is the sort of the crux of the game, is that as much as it's cooperative, that we are trying to work together as various houses to defeat the monsters, we've also got our own agenda. We want to claim as much of the gold and the rewards and the glory as we possibly can. And so you can do devious actions. I am helping you out to defeat these monsters, but ultimately I am going to steal this location from you and hence get more points. We then move on to the Mage. The Mage gives +2 to each warrior in their location. So let us find, let's actually remove that one. And let us put the Mage down. So the Mage would now increase this warrior's strength to 7. And as you can see, the symbol, the axe and the axe, it's very, very easy to recognize what the special abilities of these cards do to the other cards. And when you play a Mage into a location, you may freely change the order of the Slayer cards at that location. So you could move it that way. Okay, because there is an aspect that if there is a draw, if you are the first person to the location, closer to the location, then you would win that particular the draw on choosing the card. So that's the advantage of the mage. The ranger, there's the ranger. Once you play a ranger in a location, you may swap them with another one of your Slayer cards at that location. Okay, so if the ranger goes down, we could swap out the mage and put the ranger in place. In this instance, that wouldn't do us particularly any good because we've got a level 5. So let's say there was a mage in. It could have been 2 mages, couldn't it? And now, using the ranger, I've now got a level sort of 3 attack, so which means I will win this location over the attack of 2. And then finally, the Exterminator. There's the Exterminator. When you play an Exterminator into a location, place their token on one of the monster cards at that location. From now on, that monster's strength equals 0. So in other words, I could place him in there. I could play his token onto that Wyron. And now that Wyron is only worth 0. In other words, it's going to be an easy kill or easier kill for the group on this particular location. And so those are the abilities of the various characters within your house. So you can see how they alter the strength of their own characters, the strength of the monsters. They also allow you to swap characters if you need be. And most importantly, they're able to steal locations potentially from under the noses of other houses. Alright then, so the only other thing that I would have to talk to you about would be special abilities on monsters, but I think I can do that as we're actually playing. Alright then, so I shall start. I'm going to start with the blue player first. The blue player is me, and the green is me again. Alright, so we got the Stolum. As Stolum, all other normal monsters at this location have their strength doubled. So he's an amazing character. He's got 0 strength himself, and yet doubles the strength of every character that is on the card. So we need to make certain that the Stolum has really low card values going onto him. And we've got to make certain that we have really, really strong guys, because in this location we can only have 3 guys, yet there's going to be 4 monsters. And this is the gutter yard. So then, I think I'm going to have to put my biggest dude in there, just to give us a little bit of a head start. We got a faux dragon and we've got a striga. Well, I think what we will do is we'll put my fire in there. And we're going to put in the faux dragon. We're going to take it from the lair and add it to here. Ah, and we get another faux dragon, so we haven't got anything weaker. Okay, so that would be blue's turn done. We then go on to green. Again, we want to get to a position where we've got lots of strength here. So I'm thinking that green would put in their 6 there. So we've got at least 12 going in play. And they're going to try and take this one on here because that's quite easy. That's 5 at the moment, isn't it? So they could put their warrior in there. And now we need to put in a monster. And the monster's got to come into this section because they've played their 2 cards on this side. So again, working together, it would make sense to take this one so that we reveal another card. Aha, a 1. That's what we want. Alright then, so it's Blue's turn. Blue is going to say, right, I definitely want that 1 to go here, which means I've got to put my Slayers on this side. So it's automatically channeling what I'm able to do. So he is going to put on in let's put the 4 in there, which means that the Exterminator now turns one of these foe dragons into a value of 0. So there's only 2 points in this location. And we're going to put on in our rogue. Tricksy rogue is going to go on here. So he's made this warrior's value down to 0 when the resolution happens. And this now means that a monster's got to come into this one, which of course we want the wolf rat. So that's going to have a value of 2 now. We then go on to the green team. Now what does green want to do? Well, if green goes here, that would be the last character. So in other words, they would potentially have the most value in on this location. In fact, it is the last character on all these locations. These 2 would trigger instantly. So put in a green, if the green goes in here and they put a green there, this would be a monster and that would trigger. And that would mean that this character would potentially not get anything. So that's not good for them. So they want to put the monster in this one or in this one. Let's see what we can do. So how about what was the ranger you could swap? You may swap, so we're not going to do the swap, we're just going to put a ranger in there. And we're going to put the Exterminator here, which instantly puts that one down. So in fact, there's no value to the monsters whatsoever in this location now. We have completely and utterly neutralized them. And now this means that a monster, now do I take it from the lair or do I chance what's on the monster deck, hoping that it's going to just be a value of 1? I'm going to chance it. Oh, right. So it's the Villa. And she's got a special ability. Nullifies all Slayer abilities at this location. Oh, that's awful. Okay. Oh, abilities. Ah, so that's okay. No, that would be special abilities. These are just warriors, plain old warriors. So that being the case, it doesn't affect them. So that's good. So it's just a pure slog fight. All right, so it is now Blue's turn. We're getting to the point where Blue's only got 2 cards. So if we continued having to play cards down, when you run out, you, instead of putting down a Slayer, you would put down another monster card. So you speed up the process on this side of the locations. And once they trigger, that's called the hunt. And we'll do a hunt very, very soon, I would imagine. So, in fact, we could probably get multiple hunts going, couldn't we? Right then. But again, the way that the game plays, I can't put down anybody on this location because we've already got 3 Slayers. I can't put down anything on this location because there's 3 Slayers. So the only location I can put down on is this one here. And I will put down this guy just there. So now this means that I've got to put monsters down on the other 2 locations. So I'm going to put a 2 in there. Yes, I'm glad I did that. And I'll put a 2 in here. Okay. And now what happens is we fulfilled the hunt requirement. So we now have a hunt triggering. So straight away, this location, the Exterminators make these 2 creatures a strength of 0. So in fact, this location only has a monster strength of 2. And that is going to be 2 against 11. The total of the hunters. So of course, we instantly win. Let's just take these counters back. So the first things first would be to shuffle up. Give 1 to green, 1 to blue. And that's in the discard. We've then got to determine who actually gets the location. Who has the most strength? Well, it's clearly blue. Blue's got 7 against green, who's only got 4. So blue is going to get 4 points. Move that to there. Whilst green is going to get 3. Blue also gets to keep this location, along with blue's monster. Whereas green just gets the card. And then these sets of warriors come back home to rejoice and drink beer until the next fight. And then what happens is we instantly draw a new location. We have the Cursed Mounds. We refill the lair and we put in our monster. And straight away, this location now triggers its hunt because we've got the 3 in here. So away we go. So we have a value of 7 in the monsters. And we have a value of 9 in the hunters. So again, we have won. We would shuffle. Blue gets that. Green gets that. Now we have to determine who wins the location. Or who gets the location. Because blue has come on in and put the rogue icon on here, this character, the 5, is worth 0. So it's 1 on blue, but it is 3 still on green. So green wins, but only just. So green gets 2 points. And gets to keep the location. They go over to green. Whereas blue just gets the monster. And again, Slayers come home. And we get a new location out, which is the Hearth. That looks very nice, doesn't it? The artwork on the locations and the monsters are just beautiful. Really, really nice. And we have, oh, a Stollum again. Oh no. So we know what he does. He basically doubles the strength of any monsters in the location. All right. And that was then just 2 hunts done real quickly. So green is at 5 points. And I should be moving the turn marker, so hang on a second. So that's 4. That's 6. So we are just on the cusp of twilight before it becomes the night. None of the locations have any special effects to them. Okay, and so we are on to Blue's turn. And I'm going to put a dice there to remind me whose turn it is. So it's inevitable that I will forget. Okay, so what have we got? We can have 4 Slayers here, we can have 3 Slayers here. We want to trigger this one. So in other words, I'm going to have to put my Slayers down on here to then put the monster up here. Alright. So, let's see what we've got. I'm going to put my rogue in here. And my ranger in here. Do I take a gamble? So that's going to be 6. No, I should do that, shouldn't I? So we should take the Striga to go in there. Ah, that's another one. Okay. And straight away, this now triggers this hunt. So what do we have? We have the Stolum increases the value. So there's no value to the villa. Stolum increases the value, so we've got a value of 8 with these 2 cards just there. And that's 8 up against 12. It's like 17, isn't it? Is it right? Yes. So we got 17, so we've definitely beat that. Thanks, Noyak. Take care. See you tomorrow. So we got 12. We got our 8 against 17. Definitely defeated. We shuffle these up. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. 1 for blue. 1 for green. Okay. Who's going to win the location? It is definitely blue who is winning. Blue is going to take the 4 points. That moves it to 8. Whilst green only gets 1. So that's actually a really good location. Really needed to fight for that a bit more because first player absolutely gets the most points from it. So blue has done really well. I'm glad I'm blue. Alright. And these guys come back to the hands. Put these cards in the pile. Okay, and then we get new location. The Black Woes. Ah, now then, what does this mean? This means that during the nighttime phase, there is 1 extra monster, and we are indeed in night. So this location can take 5 monsters. So let's put down, oh, we got a wolf rat to start off with. And it is green's turn. What is green going to do? Okay, well, at least green has got all of their characters. But now we understand, or certainly the point system, that's a 4 there on the cursed mounds. I think green needs a bit of that action. So green is definitely going to go heavy. And because the rogue has already been played, it can't play its token, so he's quite safe. So let's get that 6 in there. And again, he's looking, green's now really understanding how fit players work. So he's seeing the 3 points there. So he's saying, yep, I'm going to have some of that. So these, obviously, these awful places are the best places to get the points. Which means a monster has got to go here. Now, it's going to be a double value, but we haven't seen this before. This Stolum has a treasure chest, and that's worth an additional point should you get hold of this card. So maybe that's worth something. at the end. But let's see. We don't want to put a Wyram down. We don't want to put a Lamia down. Let's go blind. Oh, we have a Vodnik. What is a Vodnik? When you play a Vodnik into a location, return the last Slayer card from that location to their owner's hand. So the Vodnik goes on in there, and she forces blue to come back on out. Yes, evil, sort of fiendy. Well, if you look at her face, she's got really, really sharp, razor-like teeth. She doesn't look nice at all. Okay, so it is now, in fact, blue's turn. And blue is looking and thinking, yep, blue wants a bit of the extra points, doesn't want green catching up at all. So blue is going to go strong, putting a warrior in there. And in fact, is going to double up on here on purpose, because now you've got to play a monster card, and what blue is doing is purposely affecting situations. So blue is basically saying, right, I've put my 2 cards down here, a monster has got to come down here. This location can only hold 3 monsters. It will mean that a hunt will start straight away. There are no slayers here. So the hunt will resolve itself, but no one's going to gain anything from it. No one's going to lose anything from it, other than time. But what is a good thing to do is it gets rid of this Wyram, because that is the monster that's going to get played down. And you get a strange one who's going to go back in its place. So we have to resolve this hunt. As I say, no monster slayers. Monsters basically shuffle off. This location moves the sundial by 3. 1, 2, 3. So we're coming out of night. But the good thing about this is that blue is in the lead. Blue has forced time to move along on purpose, while blue is still in a good position. And so of course we get a new location. The Skeletaria. Looks like some sort of watchtower. Okay, and so this means that during nighttime we can have an extra monster. During the daytime we can have an extra hero. And so straight away, what do we have? We have a foe dragon. Lots of foe dragons here. And so that was blue's go. So we move on to back over to green. And what does green want to do? Well, green could trigger. No, we've still got to get all the monsters in. Let's see what green can do. Yeah, green definitely wants some of this action here. So green is going to use the rogue to nullify blue's warrior. And green does want some action over here as well. So green is going to make this foe dragon into a 0. Which means then that this location is going to have to take another monster. And we have a Lyco. So all warriors at this location have their strength reduced to 2. So we're going to place that one there. So as you can see, characters who have the axe reduced down to 2. We've got no warriors here, so we're okay. And now we go back over to blue. And what's blue going to do? We can't put any heroes here. We can't put any heroes here. The heroes have got to come here. And luckily I don't have any warriors, which is good. So I'm just going to put blue's Exterminator, making the 2 to a 0. And so now what we've got to do is put monsters down. And it's monsters into these 2 locations. So I think let's take the Striga. See what we get. Wolf Rat. Yep, let's put the Wolf Rat in there straight away. Okay. And so we go on to green's turn. And again, the game is channeling how or where you can place. Oh, hang on a second. Did I make a mistake? Ah. Oh, hang on. Let us put that Wolf Rat back here because blue could have placed that there. So that would have just been the one going in there. So that's correct. So we're now on to green. So green does have that problem. 4 here, 4 here. It's only here that green can put down. So green is going to put a ranger in there, which means now that these 2 locations are what are going to take the monsters. And I think the safest thing to do is let's take this Striga there. So that's the Mimic. Striga's gone here. Wolf Rat is going to go just there. And then we go back over to blue. Blue really has just 1 location to put down in. And so again, it's quite simple. So this is where the game is now starting to speed up because blue's got no cards, green has only got 1, and there is now no more, well, other than this location for green, you've got to basically put cards down on the monsters. So the Wolf Rat could go in. So how about there? So that would be 5, that'd be 7. Yeah, should we do that? Because that would trigger it straight away, won't it? And it will free us up. Put that there. And that would go in there. Okay. So, bang! The cursed mounds have instantly started a hunt. So what have we got? The foe dragon's worth nothing. We've got 5. We got 5 against a huge amount of warriors. It's overkill. There's 16 warriors there, all hacking and slashing. Okay, so it's an instant success. We give these a bit of a shuffle. Oh, sorry, he needs to be shuffled in as well. One for blue, one for green. These go here. And so taking a look, so it is going to be green who is victorious here by sure, which is a value of 10. So green gets the location. So first and foremost, we move the sun on by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Green gets 4 points, which is exactly what green wanted. 1, 2, 3, 4. And blue gets 2 points. So not as many as they hoped, but still got some points going. And so these go to green. And this goes to blue. Okay. And these warriors all come back to their respective owners. So green has some more cards now, which is good. And of course, we now need to put a new location in. And we have, oops, wrong way around, the errant. And we have a special symbol here, which is an unknown region. When you place a monster card at its location, you must play it from the top of the monster deck. So we're going to have a blind select every time we go to that location to put a monster down. But right here and now, We have a Wyron. So we got a fire-breathing dragon in our location already. Great. And so it's on to green's turn. We are in daytime. This location ability no longer counts. So in other words, 4 monsters and it will trigger this hunt. That's probably a good idea. So green wants to be putting characters down in these two. And because it's daytime, we can actually fit an extra character in. So let's see who, what and where. Let's put a 6 in here and a 4 in here. And that means, that's just a Vodnik. Oh, that's clever. Oh, but would it count? We don't want the Vodnik going in. Let's, oh, it's a Mimic. So let's see what a Mimic does. When you play a Mimic onto a location, if there is available Slayer space, you must place him on the Slayer side of that location. Right? So there's no space left, so the Mimic has to go here. And that being the case, we now trigger the hunt. Okay, so what have we got? A 0, a 1. We have 5 in total. Against, what have we got here? 12, 15. Okay, so clearly the Slayers have won. So let us shuffle these up. And 1 for blue, 1 for green. The rest go there. Okay, who wins? Haha, we've got the pesky rogue in play. So green has 6. Blue would have had 9, but it is now 0 because of the rogue. So blue only has 3. So green wins. So green gets 3 points. Green is on the attack. 1, 2, 3. Whereas blue gets 2. 1, 2. And green takes the card. But the sun must move on by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that goes to green. That's to green. This is to blue. And the cards come back. And of course now new location. The Lake of Mists. Again, a similar, so more monsters come out at night time, more heroes out during the day. And whom do we have? We have a Striga. Okay then. And so it is blue's turn. Can green possibly catch up? Oh, Abaddon, so thank you so much for the sub. That's very appreciated. Are you enjoying the game? Is this a type of game that you would play? I actually think once you get the rules down and you understand the flow of the game, I really enjoy it. It's good fun. I can imagine with a good group of friends, each of you all sort of vying for that position. Oh, you don't have local players. Yeah, I don't quite. It's not. I guess it's not something that you could play long distance. But no, it's good fun. I'm enjoying it. Even though I'm blue, I think my alter ego of green is going to win. So you got lots of D&D players, but not many board game players. You might be surprised. You know, you could offer up a game like this and say, guys, check it out, because they wouldn't necessarily be familiar with it. But of course, it's the same sort of fare, isn't it? It's basically heroes defeating monsters. So, so yes, I would still imagine that you would get people interested to play. Everybody likes to try out a new game. That's always the lure of new games, isn't it? It's new and shiny. especially when somebody knows how to play that game straight away. And is good at sort of teaching. Again, it's taken me a couple of goes just to get my head around the rules, but even now as I'm playing it against myself, it's all falling into place. It is just a process as you go through. But of course, with other players deliberately trying to usurp you, that's where the real fun is to be had. As you deliberately maneuver players into situations. Right then, so it is Blue's turn. And what's Blue going to do? Well, we've got a brand new location to be had. But this errant has got the most points. And the errant is the location that you've got to put a card down on first if you're able, because of its special ability. So I'm going to put Blaze down. He's a warrior. Let's get him in there nice and early. If he's an Exterminator, he would have put that on there, because he went down first. So let's just get that clear. All right. And now we're going to have the Lake of Mists. Yes, let us deal with that. Let's have another warrior go down on the Lake of Mists. And we are actually in nighttime. We are on nighttime 20. So it means there's only 4 more movements to go along. So 4 here, 5 here. Literally, there is 1 hunt to be played, and that will be the end of the game. So, wow, it is really going to be down to who can get the most points. So he's put that means a monster is going to come here. And the monster is going to be... Well, yes, so he doesn't want green to win. So we're going to deliberately play this card, to which we know that that means that the last card in gets sent back to the player. Oh, look at Blue, so cunning on Blue, knowing that potentially the 4 will trigger the end of the game. Blue has now got the maximum amount of characters in here and only needs 1 more monster, 1 more player. Cunning Blue. All right then, on to Green. What's Green going to do? Green, of course, says, I'm having none of that. And instantly plays back his card. And Green is also going to play another warrior. Oh, sorry, it should have. It would have been, he would have played that card first because he's got to be playing on here, this location, because of the impending danger. But then he would have played that second, meaning a monster comes up on here, and we should do that. And we're going to take it blind. Yes, a wolf rat. There we go. So we go over to Blue. Blue's got to place in here. Blue's going to put down a 3. And now Blue can place... He can't go in here, so he's going to have to go here. And that means the monster is going to go on this one, which is going to trigger the hunt. So you see how things I've had to put on here. I can't put on here. Got to go there, meaning this has got to be triggered instantly. And that's now going to be the end of the game. So let us see what... Well, I think we don't want to upset the balance, do we? But yeah, we can do that. So we can take this Lamia because it's got a treasure chest. Lamia goes in place there. All right. And so now the hunt is triggered. Because we've got an Exterminator on here, we essentially have a 4 against, well, we've got 15 here. So the Slayers definitely win. let us shuffle these up. And one for blue, one for green. Okay. And so we take a look. There is nothing altering the values here. So green has got 9 against blue's 6. So green is going to win this card. Green gets 2 points. 1, 2. Oh, that's interesting. First player gets 2, but second player gets 3. I did not see that. What an interesting thing. So blue, in fact, gets 1, 2, 3. And the sun moves on by 4. But green get those. Blue gets that. And that, effectively now, is the end of the game. So let's just put that just here so you guys can see. As I say, I really do enjoy it. I think it's good fun. It's easy to sort of understand. Again, I'm working with, as you can see, prototype rules. And it is, I should point out, the board is prototype. The counters, of course, are prototype. I think the cards, the artwork is as is, just the card will be on better stock. So this has just been printed out as a prototype for me to be able to have a go of. So you'd expect your production value to be much greater. But it gives you a good idea of how it plays. So there we go. That is the Monster Slayers of Slawia, which will be heading onto Kickstarter next week, in fact. So make certain that you keep your eyes open for it. Being published by Into the Unknown Studio. Well, alright then, folks. Well, I think that's as good a point to call it a night. So let's see who I need to thank. And so thank you so much to Amberden for the subscription. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning on in. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.